Hi, I'm Ken Howard, and welcome to the Gay Therapy LA podcast. Today, like to talk about a topic in gay men's relationship advice: how to succeed in an age difference relationship. So, as a very long-term, 28-year specialist in therapy for gay men, I'm asked often for gay men's relationship advice, especially how to overcome some of the most common and classic challenges in gay relationships. And among these questions about gay relationship situational difficulties that have to do with where and how we live, such as a previous episode and blog article on gay men coping with a long-distance relationship, that was one of them. But the other question that's also very common that I get from gay male couples who are my clients is how to handle an age difference in a relationship. Because in the gay community, we see a lot of relationships where one partner is older and the other one's younger, sometimes by quite a bit, 10, 20 years or more. So age differences in gay relationships just add another layer of potential stigma to gay male relationships. We know that despite marriage equality, gay relationships do not have the same social validation in lots of ways that heterosexual couples do, which is why heterosexual privilege in society is a real thing. But even straight relationships can be looked down on if there are big age differences between the two partners. There, the dirty rich old man is being exploited for his money, while the gold-digging bimbo is being exploited for her traditionally attractive looks as a trophy wife. And both of those partners can have their true feelings invalidated by a social stigma, and that's even with heterosexual privilege. So a gay male couple with an age difference can have the same stigma of the older, wealthier daddy objectifying and exploiting a twink for his youthful looks, and the daddy is being exploited for his money by the twink who just wants the best of everything, as a defense against maybe a self-loathing for being gay. But I don't like to put too much stock in these kinds of negative stereotypes because despite the fact that we can find evidence for them, straight or gay, every relationship is different. And consenting adults have a right to form the relationships they want, regardless of any social approval from irrelevant parties, let's say. Age differences in gay relationships can be just like any other variable. Now, I've done previous episodes on cultural differences in gay male relationships and how to cope with them, as well as navigating other differences, such as an income difference between the partners, or when your partner has a certain kind of psychiatric disorder and you don't. How do you make that work? But age difference is a lot like a cultural or a national origin difference, where it has to do with worldview and outlook based on the phases of life that each person goes through. Gay relationships already challenge convention that, we as gay boys grow up with a pressure to be heterosexual, or we are assumed to be. So in coming out, we buck tradition to begin with. When we choose a partner who's much older or much younger than we are, we're bucking tradition again of what might be expected of us by parents or friends or colleagues. It's the same with interracial relationships. But gay men tend to basically ignore the naysayers and proceed with a consenting adult relationship that we want, even with an age gap. Gay men worldwide have a strong sense of kinship. We can be different races, ethnicities, social classes, nationalities, and cultures, and we all still love share. There's a commonality to gay men that brings us all together as peers. So maybe not all of us love share, but, there's a sense that gay men across the world share a common global community by having our sexual and affectional orientation and identity shared. And that cuts across all cultures, and it cuts across all time in history. And it's this mutual recognition and brotherhood that creates our global gay community, and certainly our local gay communities in different cities, particularly if you think of the big cities like Greenwich Village or Hell's Kitchen in New York, or the Castro in San Francisco, or the West Hollywood area in Los Angeles County, all different, gay neighborhoods, DuPont Circle in Washington, D.C., and this can transcend age, that sense of community, so that two gay men with an age difference might still experience each other as peer members of the broader gay community, even though they may be different ages. Another aspect of all this is the stages of life, where the challenges can come up in gay relationships with an age difference has to do with the two partners going through different stages of life. And these have been outlined by many theorists. Erik Erikson was well known for this. Harry Stack Sullivan was another psychologist and researcher and author. But Erikson basically stated that we humans go through a very predictable set of stages in life, very, very roughly corresponding to each decade of life, wherein there's a challenge that we must face to overcome, and there's a reward that we get for meeting that challenge at every age. When a gay relationship has an age difference, the two partners are probably going through different life stages, and so their outlook and their priorities and their values can differ, even though the guys might have lots of other things in common that makes the relationship feel rewarding to them. So when these differences in life stage don't jive, it can cause friction in the relationship. When they work harmonically, like a yin and yang, they can create a sense of collaboration or perhaps a mentee-mentor dynamic and complement each other's valuing and admiration for the other. While it's not universal, many times in age difference gay relationships, the younger partner keeps an older partner from growing too stagnant and offering spontaneity, a youthful energy, modern cultural literacy in music or fashion or foods or whatever, a vitality in sexuality, and a sense of personal growth. And then sometimes what the older partner offers the younger partner is maybe a sense of stability and structure, a sense of historical identity, and other kinds of cultural values and inspiration and guidance and sustainability over time. So now let's look at what I call the risks of friction. Where are the friction points where in age difference gay relationships might seek out my services as a therapist or relationship coach? So there are many areas of potential conflict, and it's often these kinds of problems that we're working on in session, and here are a few of them. Let's do about 4 on my list. So number 1 is social life differences in different peer groups. If one partner is in his 20s and his partner's in his 50s, they might have different social groups. Guys in their 20s tend to run with a pack in a larger group of friends that they do things with. They're just socially oriented from things like high school and college and, just beyond college age, to tend to run in their peer group, their circle, or their posse. Being out frequently, like at a bar or a club or some event, even on a weeknight, might be common, whereas an older partner might have fewer but closer friends whom he sees more infrequently. And sometimes a therapist needs to help the older partner understand and accept that a younger partner might need to be more socially active, probably like the older guy was when he was younger, without the older partner feeling that he is being abandoned by the time and attention that his younger partner spends with his peers. And we have to kind of make that okay. Number 2 is an income difference. Now, I have another episode about how to handle an income difference in a gay relationship, and even a blog article on that on gaytherapyla.com/blog that you might want to look at that gets into more detail about money differences. But there can be friction when younger men are newer in their careers and they have less professional experience and probably just earn less, which can make an older partner feel like I have to pay for everything without feeling like his partner is making a reasonable, keyword, equal contribution to the household. Part of the solution for this is discussing what seems to be fair in your house. Maybe if the older partner works longer hours and pays the bulk of the rent or the mortgage or other everyday household bills, maybe a younger partner, if he has a less demanding job or more free time, maybe he does more of the household work as a non-monetary contribution. But you discuss what constitutes mutual contribution around your house. Number 3 is, like we said, the risk of mutual exploitation. The concern of many people looking at an age difference relationship from the outside can be about a certain mutual exploitation risk, where the younger partner is invalidated for any professional skills or acumen, and in bad situations is treated like a pretty little sex object, whereas the older partner can be treated like a walking ATM who's made of money and is obligated to give a lot of it in exchange for the younger partner's attention, or to make him look good as the trophy boyfriend. Now, I've seen this dynamic, but I think it's more rare than the negative stereotyping of gay age difference relationships might suggest. Instead of it being seen as a mutual exploitation, maybe we can cognitively reframe it to be seen as a lovely mutual support system, a harmony where each partner gives and contributes what makes them special to their partner. Also, there are plenty of age difference relationships that don't fit the stereotype, where the older guy is the pretty one and the younger guy is perfectly well off financially. These relationships, despite some assumptions, are not always a match made at the bank. But I think the couple should discuss this risk and talk openly about what their hopes and fears are, given their age difference, so that any concerns can be aired and be subject to some kind of compromise, a discussion about what works for them. Even if it wouldn't work for any other couple, it works for them in their household. And then number 4 is medical issues. As an age difference relationship progresses over the very long term, such as if a relationship begins with one partner at 45 and the other at 25, and 20 years goes by, the partner who is now 65 might start to have more health concerns overall, and these would progress the longer they're together, assuming they still are. This question or fear, comes up as early as the 45-25 stage of what's going to happen when my older partner gets even older. But this is what therapists call anticipatory anxiety, which is worrying about something now that might be a challenge and might not be many years into the future. And the very short answer is, you cross that bridge when you come to it. The fears of either partner, that the older partner might become a burden in older age to the younger partner, that tends to be a fear fantasy. There are so many variables about long-term health, personal and environmental circumstances, and events in the relationship that worrying about a 45-year-old becoming an infirm senior citizen are very premature, and I think even a little ageist. I try to redirect partners, either one, who have this concern to much more present-day and realistic challenges that need, their time and attention and maybe their session work, and just good communication skills, in the here and now, this year's goals. So let's talk about sexuality. From my perspective as a specifically trained sex therapist, not all psychotherapists are sex therapists. You have to have additional training for that, which I have had. And as a member of the American Association of Sex Educators, Counselors, and Therapists, also known as ASECT, that's the National Association of Sex Therapists, sexuality in age-different relationships can have many dynamics. Sometimes younger partners can be especially invested in a very romantic or idealized idea about relationships and can be very adamant about strict monogamy, even being uncomfortable if his partner uses porn and masturbation because it can trigger abandonment feelings. I've seen that. An older partner might have some anxiety about his younger partner appearing desirable to many and maybe insecure because of his own internalized ageism, assuming that everyone would prefer his young partner to him. Differences in libido or even sexual dysfunction, like erectile difficulties. I have a episode on that. I have a blog article on that about cognitive causes and cures for erectile dysfunction in gay men. And these kinds of problems, sexually and medically might be more prone to hit the older partner, but I've seen plenty of exceptions. I've seen younger guys who have sexual dysfunction issues that they want some help with, and that's part of what I do. Sexuality in an age difference relationship, that's its own topic, apart from the other dynamics in the relationship, and often it needs its own attention and treatment via qualified sex therapy. What is key in keeping communication open and decisions about monogamy versus consensual non-monogamy, C&M, which I'm also trained in via the Sexual Health Alliance, that might differ at different times in the relationship, and that's okay. Very often gay male relationships might start out as monogamous, experiment with consensual non-monogamy. That might change as the ground rules change. They might even experiment with monogamy again as they're older. It really is something that's subject to change as the respective needs change of the partner throughout the relationship. It's not really set it and forget it when you're both young in the relationship. A lot of times it needs to be revisited and sometimes renegotiated in different ways. So discussions of what sexuality and what decisions feel right can evolve over time. And the goal is to kind of keep both partners on the same page to make an agreement or a series of agreements that takes candid communication and bravely addressing the physical, the emotional, the domestic or practical, and social implications about what your sex life is like. Another area that we see in these age difference relationships is what I call existential issues. Similar to what we were saying earlier about concerns about growing infirm as you get older. And, the older partner might consider his younger partner to be his last partner in this lifetime, while the younger partner might survive him and have other partners after the first one passes away. Now, this still comes under the idea of anticipatory anxiety or anticipatory grief about being widowed. And, we don't want to dismiss relationship concerns through, just kind of a crass denial, but we also don't want to address tomorrow's only possible scenarios today. Concerns like which partner might survive the other might be important for legal planning or wills, advance health care directives, or last wishes. Requiring a will or a trust or other, that's legal stuff. That's stuff that a lawyer would do. But assuming that the older partner will always pass away first is not necessarily true. Things happen in life. So for better or for worse, you can't really always assume that the older partner will pass before the younger partner. And I'm all for helping couples plan for the future. The very big existential issues that can afford to be deferred in favor of taking care of each other right now is often preferable. For some of the longer term stuff, you might have a consultation with a very LGBT affirmative family law professional, an attorney, and or a certified financial planner, so that you take care of yourselves in the event of sudden death or disability or emergency. But, you don't want to borrow anxiety from the future for today beyond kind of a sound family planning, including thinking of the gay-male relationship as a two-person family. Another area we can look at is your families of origin. So in any age difference gay relationship, some couples will experience support of their families of origin, or the other, or both, or neither. An older partner might even have children from a previous relationship who could be the age of their younger partner. This happens in straight age difference relationships often. An older partner might be closer in age to his young partner's parents. But of the 4 levels of making a relationship work, I have a previous episode on that. The 4 levels of making a relationship work are emotionally, physically, including sexually, domestically, getting along at home, and managing the other. the relationship withstanding stressors from the outside in. And this kind of stuff about dealing with your respective families of origin is about managing the other, and that can be managing the attitudes, reactions, and dynamics of each partner's respective in-laws. Now, hopefully, all relationships enjoy support from their broader family of origins, but this is not a requirement to make your relationship work. All couples need to do is what's right for them, regardless of the outside influence from friends. Friends can actually be quite problematic in relationships. I work with clients on that a lot. Or family of origin. And even if the families don't get it about why the partners are together with such an age difference, 20, 30 years sometimes, it is still solely the prerogative of the partners. And sometimes these boundaries need to be asserted by the partners involved through assertive communication skills with their family members, with their parents, or with their siblings, or whoever is kind of questioning your age difference relationship. Sometimes I role play how to set affirmative limits in communication with family. Another big area is peer groups. So reactions to an age difference gay relationship can vary even among the respective partner's friends, even other gay male friends, or in their families of choice. Single friends can be jealous that you have a boyfriend at all. I experienced this to an extreme when I met my husband. And they can even be hostile to your new relationship. If you're unlucky or just have questionable friends, they can be resentful if your new partner has assets like appearance privilege or class privilege. Sometimes friends can act out by being openly jealous of your perceived advantage, or just witnessing your relationship can bring out their own bitterness or resentment or jealousy or self-esteem challenges. But hopefully, both the friend set of the younger partner and the older partner recognize each partner's right to form their own adult relationships, and hopefully they'll be supportive even if their own tastes don't involve being into older or younger partners themselves. I found that older younger couples really find out who their true friends are when they start their relationship. And again, this might involve some assertive communication when setting limits with your peer friends. Let's talk about self-empowerment in relationships. A good rule of thumb for me in age difference relationships is to remind the partners to practice self-empowerment. And that's the name of my book, which, let's plug the book for a minute. My book is Self-Empowerment, Have the Life You Want, and that's available on Amazon if you'd like to look that up. I think it's like $12 in paperback. Because as consenting adults, the partners have a right to choose their partner, or to choose their style of relationship, open versus monogamous and all the different shades of gray on that spectrum. They have the right to choose how they spend their time or their money, and assert their very personal rights to the home that they want to create together for themselves. Age difference relationships can be part of the beauty of the broader gay male community. They can show that our fraternal compassion, or even our romantic and sexual passion, can go beyond barriers in age, income, ethnicity, and culture, that can model for everyone that we can celebrate our diverse community and world. Our capacity to love is broad. Modeling this capacity to love can be an inspiration to others. When gay men with various forms of difference, whether it's age or ethnicity or culture or national origin or spirituality or profession, come together as friends or in relationship, it strengthens our gay community from the inside, which protects us socially when there are all those still, out there who work very diligently to oppress us and dismiss us and strip us of our most basic civil rights, including in some countries to the right to life itself. When gay men in age difference relationships apply the skills of commitment, communication, and compromise, I have a previous episode on that, previous blog article on that. Look up Commitment, Communication, and Compromise at gaytherapyla.com/blog if you want to find that. We evolve in our relationships in ways that give our lives enhanced purpose and meaning and enrichment. And that's at every phase of life, from very young to very old. Just as when we assert that love is love, gay or straight, as President Obama said, we also assert that love is love when the demographics of the partners differ. And this is an important part of gay men experiencing themselves as fully realized adults. And we assert this for ourselves as individuals and then share it when we form loving relationships. So, if you need support for any of these kinds of topics or issues in your own age difference relationship, then I would invite you to please consider couples counseling or relationship coaching with me or one of my colleagues at Gay Therapy LA, because we would be happy to help. For more information on the services that I and my colleagues here at Gay Therapy LA offer, please feel free to call me or text me. The number is 310-339-5778. So 310-339-5778. Texting is often fastest for that, actually. Or you can also email me, ken@gaytherapyla.com, for more information on all of our services for speaking or consulting, or if you want to become a client. And then also, if you visit gaytherapyla.com, there's a pop-up box for your name and your email and your phone number, and I can get back to you that way. So there's lots of ways to explore more about our services. So your comments and your questions and topics for future episodes are always welcome. Until then, take care, and I'll see you next time.